Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we'd take another look at the Olivetti M250. Namely, what I thought we'd do is pull out the motherboard and see exactly how bad the corrosion is on it. Probably take those NIMH or NiCad cells that are on the back of it that don't look terribly leaky, but we'll probably want to get rid of them anyway, and have a really good inspect round for the actual corrosion damage on there. And if it's not too bad, we may even possibly try powering it up and seeing what it does. I have got my test monitor here and I do have a VGA cable connected to it. And as we saw in the last video on this, we do have a power supply which seems to be giving out, sensible voltages. So it may be worth, if we don't find anything too horrific in there, perhaps just seeing whether the motherboard has any life in it. So we might as well get on with it and take a look. I've been trying to do a bit of research on the M250, and from what I can find, well, really just literally from looking through some old like What Computer type magazines from the late 1980s. I've got one, it's What Micro from 1989, 88 or 89, I think it's 89, and it does mention the M250 and also the Olivetti, is it the 2086 or whatever, the standard 286, because you had it's the PC 286, isn't it? Because you had the PC 886, which is what I had all that time ago, and then you had the PC 286. Well, it looks like the Olivetti M250 was basically like a cheaper alternative to that. It was like your entry-level AT computer from Olivetti. As it was like where the what's it? The PC 286 had a 12 megahertz CPU. This only has an 8 megahertz CPU. I think that came with like a 40 megabyte hard drive as the base model, and this come with a 20 megabyte hard drive as the base model. I think the RAM, the 28, is it the PC 286? I think it's the PC 286 I'm talking about. Yeah, because I think the one I had was the PC 86. It had, I think, it either came with either half a meg or 1 meg of like RAM as standard. I think this come with like half a meg as standard. It was basically, excuse me, it was basically a lower end version. Different case, but not too dissimilar anyway. Right, so we're inside. We'll might as well get rid of the drive bays and. I've got to disconnect that, haven't we? I just want to get the motherboard out of the case completely, because the case is going to need a lot of work on its own right with the corrosion in here. We'll talk about corrosion in a bit, maybe. Oops, and I just nearly knocked my coffee everywhere. We'll talk about corrosion in a bit, maybe. I should really be wearing my anti-static to this point, so we'll get the old anti-static wrist strap on. Right, and we'll try and disconnect this. Well, get this drive bay is very rusty. Very rusty. If you look in there, drive bay out of the way. Then we've got an incredibly rusty hard drive, which we're not going to look at just yet. We'll do our video in its own right on that hard drive. I think it is incredibly rusty. But we do now have access to the main board. I don't want to leave that plugged in for now. Right, I think you see, they're not they're like knobs you undo to get the main board out. I wonder if just a flat blade screwdriver might be the best approach. It's either that or it's getting hold of them with some pliers and giving them a twist. I'm a bit concerned they're actually breaking them. I might try and get a pair of pliers on them. See if they will work better. Let's try this. Dear me. It's turning just. Right. There's obvious signs of corrosion. There's virtually nothing left of the post there. It has got a brass insert in there, but there's nothing left of it. It's rusted away. This has obviously been very, very, very wet at some point. Let's try that. That one feels a bit better. Yeah, it's in a bit better condition, but even that one's got corrosion on it. It's a good job they've got a brass insert in them, or else I don't think we'd stand a chance. We might be struggling with this one. It's turning, but I'm feeling the plastics. I don't know. Let's see. It could be that the plastic's broken loose from the brass inside. Let's see. No, we got away with it. Actually, yeah. So, why is that so corroded? Because these ones look like the brass, but that one looks horrendously corroded there. That one's free. That one should just undo. Yeah. I really do seem to wonder whether this thing has actually spent some time with like water in the bottom of it or something like that. You know, if it's been in a cellar and the cellar's flooded at some point. I mean, it does happen. It happened in mine a few years ago. It ended up with about 6 inches of water in the bottom of the cellar. I had to pump out. Fortunately, none of my vintage stuff. It's all stored on pallets on stuff, and none of it's actually on the floor, even though it's not the best of storage places. Well, even that one. So this here is like horrendously corroded. Was it stood on its end like that and got underwater? It's very corroded down this side. But this one that's right next to the battery, you'd expect to give problems. That came out, wasn't even tight. We will have to take this riser out just to get to the last motherboard fixing, unfortunately. We'll put that back on though. Again, that one, it's finger tight. We can get that right out. There we go. Right, so we should be able to lift the motherboard clear now. It seems to be stuck at the back. Let's have a quick look at the back. I think we have to take all the that's a pain. Yeah, I think we have to take all the little things off before it'll slot out. Well, a bit like you have to do with an Amiga. And have I got my spinner for them about? So let's just bear with me a sec. In fact, I'm just going to pause the video while I just find my tool for whipping them out. So back in a sec. Well, try as I might, I couldn't find my nut spinner anywhere. So I get the other way and used a pair of long nose pliers and slacking them off and rather tediously just spun them out with my fingers. But they're out now, so hopefully we can have a look at getting this board out and seeing what state it's in. So let's try again. Yeah, there we go. Come on, out you come. Just caught at the end there on something. Why is that last little bit not coming free? it's a bit of the shielding there's caught on the. And then again, if it pulls it free, it's not the end of the world. We can always reseat it, can't we? There we go. Surprised I didn't need to take them screws out. Bugger. Let's get you out of there. Yeah, so there we are. Right. I'll just put the motherboard down to one side for a second. And just see quite, you can now see quite how rusty the inside of this computer is. I don't know if that's coming out on camera, but fortunately it's just surface rust. And I should be able to brush all this down and then treat it with a rust converter, and it shouldn't look too bad after that. I mean, where's my little... I did manage to find all my little brushes as well. I could only find that one the other time I was playing with this, but I have found my fiberglass one. And I found my steel one as well. And the steel one's great for corrosion like this. If we just have a quick look, we can brush a lot of this corrosion away. So I think this is what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to end up spending a long time scrubbing away at all this corrosion on here. Yeah. It is doable. It is not. It's not a complete write-off. We can get all this clean, the rust converted. I mean, it will never look factory, but it will look presentable when it's done. I'll get that out of the way for now, anyway, because, like I said, the point of this video is not the case. It's that's going to be if we can progress to a case. The main thing to look at for this video is the main board here, and see quite how badly damaged it is. Ooh! Right, we might as well turn our attention to the batteries of doom first. We'll get you zoomed in on the batteries of doom, and we can take a look. Let's get you right in like that. Okay, there we go. And now I can definitely see corrosion around them, but I've seen it so much worse. You know, it is not horrendous. I can see corrosion under here, but again, I've seen it far worse. The board is absolutely filthy. I suppose the first thing, I'm tempted actually just to quickly test them two batteries. I'm trying to look at what brand they are. I've never seen them before. Sealed NiCads, GS Saft, I think it says, SAFT by the look of it, GS Saft. Right, where's my multimeter? Let's just see if they've got any juice left in them. Because if they have, I might be tempted to leave them there and clean up round them, just for initial test, just to see if they might still be retaining some settings. I very much doubt it. I'll just set the old tester up and we'll see if they've got any. Yeah, point something of a volt in that one. Yeah, half a volt. They're showing like half a volt. Interesting. Yeah, they're showing about half a volt, but I think they're toast. I suppose what we could do is we could get them off the board first then. Like I said, I can't see them retaining any settings at half a volt. We could whip them off the board and then start cleaning up round here. The rest of the board, it just looks filthy, and there is some green deposits on it, but I've seen far worse. I'll get you zoomed out a bit. Oops. and we'll just whip them off the board first, just to start off with. Oh, the back of the board, actually, considering how rusty and horrible the computer is, the back of the board is spotless. There's the tiniest of tiny little bits of... There's a bit here which has been affected by the corrosion from the batteries. We'll have to check some traces around here. Some up here, yeah. I can see traces which have been affected. They're all in this area here, though. I think we may end up doing quite a lot of tracing on some of the traces here, and just make sure that they're all okay. We might end up with quite a few bodge wires perhaps on the back. We'll see. Because those are going. It all seems to be stuff that's going towards the RAM as well, so probably quite unnecessary. Where's my solder sucker? Right, we'll grab the solder sucker. We'll get some solder, and we'll add a bit of fresh solder to these points, and then we'll whip them batteries off. I could get the desoldering station on this, but it's only 2 batteries. I think we can manage it with the soldering iron and the solder sucker. He says and then knows how bad rather corroded solder can be to get off. Right, that's not taking solder very well. Let's try over here. That's taking solder better. Yeah, that's taking some solder. Let's try this one. Unfortunately, I must admit, I completely forgot when I was at the supermarket. I'm completely out of white vinegar, which really is what we want to clean this board. So I will have to do that at a later date. But we've got plenty of isopropyl and cotton buds, so at least we can get the crud off it. And then I will have to come back when I next nip down to the supermarket and pick up some white vinegar. We can go over the board with that and just make sure there's no nasties on there. And we've got got a bit of fresh solder on there now. And this one's going to be a pain. What we might have to do is lift it and then get that one off from the other side. Just heat it and pull it through. We'll see. We'll try and get these ones out first. I've got a good chunk of that off. Yeah. Let's see if we can get these batteries that side's out. Right, that one's off, well, nearly off. That's out. That's the first of... No, there's no leakage on that. That battery has not leaked. That's quite impressive. I mean, it's flat, but it's not leaked. Let's try the next one. Alright, that's free. Just got the connection, the negative connection to get out. This is the one that was being a bit problematic. This is where we have got some leakage, and it's affected the solder. It's affected the solder quite badly, actually, to the point where it isn't really melting. We might have to have a little scrape at that first, see if we can get through that crystallised layer and see whether we can get that solder to melt. What have we got down here? We can, where's my little screwdriver gone? There it is. Let's have to have a little scrape at that. Yeah, it's like got a crust on it. All these have come out okay. We've got a bit of crud round them we'll have to clean off, but we can do that after. Let's get another little bit of solder on and just see if we can get that out. Otherwise, where's my flux? I'll have to find my flux. Right, we might have had some more luck that time after we've given it a scrape. Let's try again. Alright, let's have a go at that now. There we go. Off it comes. Let's have a look at that battery. Yeah. Amazingly, neither. I mean, they had corrosion round them, but neither of the batteries have shown any sign of leaking whatsoever. So have we got the scenario where the original batteries were leaking, it's been in for repair and they've just cut them off and put new batteries on and not really cleaned round where they were? I don't know. So there's a little bit of corrosion around there, but there's more corrosion on the rest of the board. It's a bit odd, that. What I think we'll do is we'll get the old Johnson & Johnson's out. I've got my favourite toothbrush and some IPA, and we'll have a good go at the board, and we're going to have to be very careful. I think we're just going to have a bit of a brush around the board and see what's what, see how clean we can make it, really. So I'm going to have to go over it again with some white vinegar, because we've obviously have got, well, am I? Because then batteries don't. Yeah, I will do anyway. Like I say, because we could have a possible scenario that it had some batteries that have started to leak. It's gone in for service. It's a very manky. There's a capacitor here that looks like it's been melted by a soldering iron. Now, I don't think I've just done that, taking that off. So oh, we're right, have these batteries been changed in the past? It does look possibly like they may have been. And they may have melted the plastic around that capacitor while they did it, 'cause it looks like it's been caught with a soldering iron. What I think I'll do is I'm just going to spend an hour now, 40 minutes an hour, having a good clean up of this board, just with some isopropyl and the toothbrush, just see if I can get as much of the muck and rubbish as I possibly can off it. Just really so we can see what we're up against. I mean, there's a lot of corrosion on these ICs here. Let me see if I can zoom you in. Oops, wrong way. Right, and we'll get you down to where I'm working. Right, where are we? There we are. Right, I mean, if we look... there we go. If we look round here where these ICs are, the legs do look quite green, but I've seen far worse. I think I'm just going to go in and have a good clean with the toothbrush like this and see how much of the muck and rubbish I can actually remove. But there's nowhere near as much corrosion as I was initially thought we'd find here, especially around the batteries. So if what I was saying, if the scenario was true, and you know it's had the batteries replaced in the past and the originals were leaking, I think they were probably caught, you know, where they just started leaking rather than where they'd spewed out all over the board. But it looks like if that was the scenario as well, that whoever did the battery replacement, I don't think cleaned up. I think they just put new batteries in. Get the cotton bud. I'll just go in and... I mean, it is absolutely filthy. You know, the board's really, oh look, where can you see? You know, the board is really dirty. I think it's going to need multiple cleaning sessions, but also I'm going to have to get a magnifier on it, I think, so I can check some of these traces around where there is lots of corrosion. Anyway, well, I'm going to spend about 40 minutes, an hour here, literally just cleaning around with the isopropyl and the cotton bud. And we'll come back to it as soon as I've got that finished and we can have a look, see what state the board's actually in. So, back when I've done that. I've been cleaning for about half an hour now, and this thing is absolutely filthy. And it seems to be like an oily residue that this has got on it. And I'm beginning to wonder whether this may have been used in like an industrial environment at some point, and it's like an oil mist that's got over everything. So it's horrible to clean off. It's like an oily coating on everything on the board, and it does come off, but you think you've got a piece of the board clean, like I've just cleaned there, and you wipe it all off, and then 5 minutes later it looks all like dirt. Well, I don't know if I can show it up here, but let's see if we can get it in shot somewhere. Can you see here? This is a bit that I cleaned early, and it's all gone like a milky white, and then if you clean it off, it comes off again. And you can actually clean it off, and your Q-tip is filthy like that, and then it comes back. So it's going to take a lot of cleaning this board to get it anywhere near like. So I'm wondering whether, like I said, perhaps it spent some time in some industrial environment where there was like oil mist around, and it's got, obviously because it's got fans on it, it's sucked that oily vapor inside it, and it's coated everything really. You know, look at that on that chip there. It's really rather disgusting. But then again, I mean, if it is an oil, can you see that? Can you see literally how it's just gone back to that? And the whole board's like that. You know, you clean a bit off, and it definitely comes off. But then it just clouds back over with this horrible oily, like this oily residue, and it is literally everywhere. So I suppose all I can keep doing is just carry on cleaning like this and see how much of it we can actually remove. So I'll come back to you when I've seen if I can get a little bit more of this this horrible stuff off. Okay, well, I've cleaned to the point where I've actually run out of IPA, and this isn't all of them. Both sides, as you can see, both sides. Yuck. The board is absolutely filthy, but I have made a fairly decent starter. Let's see if we can zoom you out a little bit more. Oops, wrong way. There we go. Let's get you up a touch. As you can see, it is looking a little bit on the cleaner side. It does appear to have some kind of like horrible oily film all over it, because when you're really cleaning an area like that, let me zoom you in on that area if I can. Oops. You are really concentrated on an area there like that. You can see it has actually come perfectly clean, as opposed to like over here where you can see where I haven't. I've cleaned the whole board, but as soon as you've cleaned it, it's like white residue seems to reappear after a minute or two, and that's all over the board. So I really do wonder whether this thing has perhaps been somewhere where there's like been an oily mist in the air and it's basically covered everything, and then possibly if this has been damp after that, that's caused some kind of effect. There's corrosion on pretty much all the SMD parts. Get down. Where can we get? Where I can show you? I'm on the other side of the board. Even where are we now? All these here, you know, it's only like light corrosion, but there's very light green corrosion on them all. I have just had a quick go with my little fiberglass pen here, having a go at cleaning it off, and it does come off. You can clean it all off, and I feel like in this area here, I've got it pretty much as good as new. All the corrosion's come off, all the wires, and I can't see any damage. I can't see any corrosion underneath the solder resist there, so I think we might have got away with it in that front. What I need is to get some more IPA and finish off cleaning all the rest of the crud off this board. But I don't think it would cause any harm if we was to have a go at powering this up. I suppose it is a little bit risky, but I think we can possibly have a go at seeing whether this board's going to do anything. At least it'll give us an idea. Let's see if we can get you. There we go. That's better. For some reason my zoom wasn't zooming out. It might just give us an idea going on whether we have any hope at all of getting anything out of this computer. What I'll do is I'll reattach the riser, because I have a feeling, reading and looking on YouTube, these things aren't happy unless they've got the riser connected. I have a VGA hooked up to my little test monitor here, so we'll get that plugged in. We're not going to be able to do anything with it because it uses a keyboard which we haven't got yet. Like I said, I might have something in the attic which is going to work for us, but even so, it'd just be nice if we can see something come up on that screen there. That's what, or at least if we get a beep out of it, some error codes or something. We know it's not completely dead. That'd be nice. I've got the power supply for it that we tested in the previous video about this system. Right. And how can we do? Yeah, we'll have to set that so we can get to the on-off switch, which is on the side of the. In fact, what we could do is we could switch it on, and we'll use the switch on the wall to. We'll use the switch on the wall to power it. So we'll connect the AT connectors. So it's the black always goes to the middle, so the two ground on each connector go next to each other like that when you plug it in. We've got VGA connected up. I've got an IEC lead here. Plug an IEC lead in. Right, I'll get that back there. Get that back there. I'll get that plugged in like that. So that can be switched on at the switch there to power it up. We've got VGA connected there. Let's get the monitor on. I've already got the monitor set to VGA output, I think. There we go. I'll get you up on the monitor and we'll see whether we get... I might just switch my... is that better? That might be better. Right, let's... Well, this thing goes into standby if it doesn't see a signal, doesn't it? We should have a picture there. Right, I'm going to switch the computer on and we'll see whether we get anything. So, contact. Nothing. Wonder if I have the switch switched in the wrong direction on here. Probably. Right, let's try that now. Because we know this power supply definitely did power up, so if we're not getting anything powering up now, it could be that we've got a dead short on the board or something like that. We'll just try that again now. Well, the power supply powered up, but we've got no beeps and we've got nothing at all on the screen. Let's just see if we can get the screen to... No, so we're getting absolutely nothing off the board. And that's looking pretty dead to me. Let's make sure our connections are alright there. The VJ is definitely plugged in there. That's definitely plugged in. Everything seems to be seated alright. We'll give it one last try. Like I said, we hear the power supply kick up, but we don't get any beeps or anything like that, and we get absolutely nothing on screen. That does seem pretty dead. Would have been nice if we'd got at least an error beep out of it, or at least some perhaps garble on the screen or something, but we're getting absolutely nothing there. Let's just try, just in case there's some crud on the connectors, we'll just quickly try plugging and unplugging the power connectors. And then we'll just give it one last try. No. It's not looking too promising for this, is it? I was at least hoping for a beep off it. I wonder... I'm just going to grab my my multi-tester. And we might as well get you down here, and we'll just see if we've got any voltages on the board where we'd expect to see them. So we'll set that to 20 volts DC there. Let's see if we've got anything on them batteries. We go there. Nothing there. Under a volt. Nothing there. Let's try from this side. We should have a good ground there, shouldn't we? So let's see what we've got. Well, we've got a good 5 volts anyway. Checking off that cap there. Just seeing if anything's getting hot. The board's definitely getting power because some of these chips are getting warm, but they're not. I've not felt anything burning yet. Yeah, there's our 5 volts. So our 5 volts seems to be getting throughout the board. Those are cold. That's get a little bit of warmth in it. Well, that's getting hot. Well, that's getting quite hot. That's getting warm. I mean, the board seems to be, you know, there's power to the board. But, yeah, so 5 volts. Our 5 volts is getting everywhere it should be getting on the board by the look of it. If I look at these, what we're getting on these caps. But we just don't seem to be getting any, so we'll look over here. Yeah, I mean, these are the caps on all the lines coming off the PSU. So all these look about right. Oops. So, I'll shut that down for now. So this isn't looking too good. So the board doesn't look too terrible. We've got it's going to be a scope job. We're going to have to see what's running and what's not on this. It is going to be a case of, what I think I'll probably end up doing is cleaning that case up a bit, treating the rust on the case, so it doesn't get any worse, and then when I've got more time we can delve into this thing properly and have a really good look at this board, see what we can do with this board. It may be a case of looking for a better board for this computer, I'm not sure. You seem to find like the random motherboards for these more than you do the full computers, so you never know, something might turn up. We might be able to get this one working yet. We've not even really tried properly yet. We just know that we haven't got a beep or anything, any signs of video out of it. But so the board is getting power at least. That gets rather hot up there, but everything else just seems to get to its normal. Oh, well, that would get hot. That's the bloody CPU. So yeah, I'd expect that to get hot. So the CPU's getting power. The CPU seems to be well running. Or at least it's getting its power. We could have, you know, a bad crystal. We could have a bad clock, something like that. That's literally just stopping the whole thing from running. We don't know why this thing was retired in the first place. It could have literally failed for some reason and then been dumped in a damp cellar for many years. Like I said, we don't really, we don't know the pedigree of it or anything. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video here for now. What I'll probably do is clean that case up, get rid of some of the rust in the case, reassemble this for now, and we'll probably come back to this possible when I've got a little bit more time to really devote on it. We might do a separate video on the hard drive. We could, I suppose, pull the hard drive out of the case and see if there's any possibility of getting the hard drive to work, because we don't need the computer working to see if we've got any interesting data on the hard drive, or indeed if the hard drive does still work. We can connect that up to another computer and do that. So anyway, I'm going to leave this there for now. I hope you enjoyed this little update on the Olivetti M250. So thanks for watching and goodbye.